earth is shaking and it's getting worse and worse. I survived that storm. Nothing got broken. I remember coming out of my tent and every trace in the sand from the tires and where I've walked was gone. It was a spectacular night. After that I moved on towards Utah, where I met Rachel again. We did a road trip for a couple of days. Canyonlands, Moab, Argus. Before that I'd been in Bryce, and this whole part of Utah is just extraordinary. And you can see that on Google Earth. So that's how I sort of navigate or just explore the landscapes. Just go to Google Earth and turn off the labels, so you don't see the roads and the cities and all the landmarks, but you can just see the colors of the landscape and the texture of the landscape, and that kind of tells you if it's something special, right? And if you look at Utah, it just looks like you're on Mars. It's amazing. Yeah, so we stayed in Canyonlands, we did some hikes there, and after that she headed back to San Francisco because she had work to do, and I moved on. I spent the night at Dead Horse State Point. It was a beautiful night. The rocks in the evening were still hot because of the entire day. The sun was shining on it. So I didn't set up the tent. I just slept on the edge of the cliff, which is amazing. I had a great sleep, and just waking up there is just gorgeous. I headed as far as Taos, New Mexico, Santa Fe. After that I looked back. I was really looking forward to Mexico, to something different, because the United States is amazing, and especially the West and all these different landscapes there are so beautiful, but the culture is still very much similar as the culture where I'm from, Europe. So I was looking for a change. Like, Mexico was going to be more adventurous and also more unknown for me. I'd never been in Central America or South America, so the journey was actually starting when I crossed the border to Tijuana. It's 4:30 because it's winter, it's dark so early. So I can't cycle that far in the evening or in the afternoon because you want to find a camp spot before it's dark. And like these places in Mexico, there's a lot of dogs, and when you're cycling through the dark, they're more protective of their property. So it's tricky to cycle in the dark. I've done it like a few times. It's funny, when I was in the US and we were saying to people like, oh, going to Mexico, oh, be careful there. And when I was getting closer to Mexico, that you meet more Latino people in the south of California, and they were saying like, "Oh, you're going to Mexico. People are going to be much nicer there," which is funny. And people were nice. They were super nice. It's rough when you cross the border. You get into this no man's land at Tijuana, which is sketchy, you know, and you have to be careful of your stuff. And I mean, it's the city close to the border, so it's just a lot of things happening. But once you get out of town, you get on the big road towards the south of Baja California. It just gets quieter and it's desert there, so it becomes really nice. And I followed the Baja Divide, which is a well-known mountain bike route over sandy tracks along the coast. Very quiet, super beautiful. Yeah, that route I can recommend if you like mountain biking. You'd like to do like a 2 or 3 week trip from north to south. It's beautiful. Great food, fish tacos everywhere. In the center of the island, you've got these beautiful cacti. What were they called again? I forgot the name. Yeah, after another many days in the desert, I took a ferry to the mainland in Mexico and headed straight for Mexico City, which is sort of arriving to shore, so to speak. You know, you got all the luxuries, you got a nice place, a nice bed, a warm shower, great food, you're meeting some people, and I was really looking forward to that, and I had work to do. So I wanted to stay in Mexico City for a while because it really felt I arrived into the journey and the life I wanted to live. And I love doing some work, you know, because I didn't quit my job because I hate my work. It's just the repetitive lifestyle of every day the same in the same place. And in Mexico is just, I mean, it's just so beautiful there. The sun is always shining and it's just the nature, the culture. The food is amazing. It's just an incredible place to be. We went to Puerto Vallarta on the Pacific coast, which is just paradise. Spent some time on the beach there. I met Alejandra in Guadalajara some weeks before, and she's a model, so we did some photo shoots for jewelry brands, and it was really fun to have some time off. And Mexico City is a great city. It really became a home for me. You have the historic center, which is a typical Mexican neighborhood. It's super crowded. It's loud. There's just a lot of people on the streets, and it's a bit rough to be there. And it's loud because every storefront has their own speakers in front, which is playing advertising and music, and it's an incredibly intense experience. I've lived there only for a few days. And after that I lived in La Condesa and Roma Norte, which are two neighborhoods which are slightly more gentrified. With beautiful architecture, great restaurants and mezcal bars, and there's bike shops there. It's more European, but still with the rough edge of a Mexican city. And surprisingly very green too. There's a lot of parks. for a city where over 20 million people live, it's quite a green city with beautiful parks and palm trees. And the film Roma is filmed there, which is one of my favorite movies. And I met Tonio, who was a graphic designer. He lived in Juarez, and he was on his toll bike. He cycled through the city on a toll bike, which looks crazy, but actually it's safer because cars stay far away from you. And we did a ride to Nevado de Toluca, which is a volcano close to the city. And it goes up to 4,000 meters, which for me was the first time that high. And it killed me because I'd just been sick a few days before. I had a stomach bug, but I didn't fully heal yet. So the altitude and the lack of oxygen was just so hard. But I mean, the views it's so beautiful up there, you know, it's a different world. You have a beautiful view on the city. And it sparked the dream again to travel, because I'd been in the city for, 2-3 months. But then my bicycle got stolen. I wasn't careful. I had put it outside. I'd used it to go around, but we went to the cinema and we're not allowed to put it inside, so I had to park it outside. It was locked to a tree. But when we came back, I found the lock on the street and the bike was gone. So I couldn't leave. And there was someone who offered his mountain bike. He was a really nice guy, offered me his mountain bike to continue my journey. But I tried it out, but I couldn't fit the bags on there, and it was a little bit too small. So eventually, Surly sent me a new bike, which was amazing. And but I still needed to rig it out. You know, I still needed specific racks and cages to fit all my bags on, and that needed to come from overseas. So it took a long time before I got the bike ready again. And so it was May, which was the beginning of the rain season. That's thunder. Rains a bit. It's not bad. We got a good outfit. Rain shorts, sandals, that's fine to get wet. Little rain jacket. Little rain jacket for my bag. All good.
Woo! This is serious. Oh. Look at that. Get that, how waterproof my bags are.
So that gave me an idea of how cycling through rain season was going to look like. But it wasn't too bad yet though, because it was just the beginning of the rain season and most of the days were dry. And yeah, heading south I really saw some amazing landscape. I headed to Oaxaca city and then to Hierve el Agua, which means the water that boils. And there's this beautiful steep hillside with green hills where boiling water comes out of the rocks, which leaves this like white residue, beautiful colors and shapes. And I spent the night there. It's an incredible place. So I headed to Yucatan, land of the Mayas, which is known for its cenotes and old Maya ruins and beautiful coastlines with white sand beaches. What I didn't know though was that these roads were relentless. It's like the desert, but then green. It's not the rainforest you would know from Bali or the Pacific Northwest, beautiful rainforest. It's just stretched out forests, quite low, and the vegetation it's all the same. It's very thick, and there's just a few highways cutting through. If you look on Google Earth, you just see a sea of green, and there's nothing there than this highway, and then there's connecting a few towns and lagunas. People that visit these places, they are in air-conditioned buses, and that's the best way to get there by car, because it's incredibly hot and humid, and to cycle there, it's just not fun. Because there's nothing to see. It's just like walls of green on both sides of the road, and a lot of insects and whatever kind of animals in those jungles you don't want to know. Having said that, camping on the beach over there is just so blissful. It's warm, you got the warm breeze during the night, so you can take a swim whenever you want. You cook your pot, crack a coconut, and there's no one there. That's my camp spot for tonight. Pretty good. Nothing. Nothing. Guatemala was a big surprise to me. The variety of landscapes, this beautiful old city, Antigua. It's an old colonial city, and the people, beautiful people wearing still the traditional dress. Something that you don't see anymore in Mexico very much. There's a few indigenous groups in Chiapas, but it's more westernized. A local coffee farmer, his name was Pedro, he took me on a little tour over his plantations on the back of a horse, which was actually the best way to get around because the hillsides are so steep. This beautiful lake, Lake Atitlan, at 1,500 meters. I like it, I like the horse. Maybe better than the bicycle. And then the volcanoes. Central America has the volcanic belts along the Pacific Ocean. One that stands out is El Fuego, which spits fire about every day. It's a spectacular sight. I'd seen it on the photos, and the best way to see it is from the volcano next to it, which is Acatenango. So I did a hike up there, but about 2 or 3 weeks before, there was a very big eruption on El Fuego, which reached world news because about more than 100 people were killed. It never erupts that intensely. It was, I think, the last eruption of that size was about 50 or 70 years ago, I'm not sure. So when I was there, the volcano was kind of dormant, and it would maybe spit some fire, or it was just kind of glowing. So we waited through the night. I was with some other people and the guide also. At 4,000 meters we camped, and but we didn't see much of it, unfortunately. It was a beautiful hike though, and it's just high up there. The views are amazing with sunrise. It's incredible views. And a few days later I hiked up another volcano a bit further down south, which is called Volcan Pacaya, lesser known. But again, it was rain season, so I was in the clouds. I started a hike very early morning. On the trail to Pacaya. Started about like 4:30. It was very cloudy. It's starting to get light now, so that's nice. There's a dog following me. And when I got closer to the top, the wind started picking up so intensely. Wow, it was like... It was dangerous too, because I got very close to the crater, and the winds just swept me off. It was crazy. Crazy colors. I'm sleeping here tonight. Wow. That's beautiful. Damn. All right, cook some food. Been walking the whole bit, almost the whole bit. You can see the river there. There's like a dam, a little lake, and then there's a dam. It's so steep, and now it starts raining too. I'm just pushing my bike, I'm just so tired. It's hard to see, but it is very steep. Maybe you can see it where my bike's at. Yeah. I'm coming from up there, like over that ridge, all the way down and all the way up. Oh, fuck. Yeah, this is very high. Yeah, for you. Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama I kind of rushed through it because the rain season really was at its fullest. It was raining almost every day, and it was, oh man, it was so intense. It's not cold, so that's not the problem, but you're always wet because it's a humid climate, and your skin starts to feel kind of like rubber, and it's itching because your pants are always wet and your shirt is always wet, and you wear a rain jacket sometimes, but it just doesn't matter anymore because you're sweating and you're getting wet from the rain, and things don't dry up anymore. So I usually went to guest houses or motels with AC to dry out my stuff because my camera and my lens was showing like condensation on the inside. I was just getting in trouble with my electronics. It started so early this morning. Got up at 5, cycled since 6, 7, and I thought it would be straight right now, but it's not. It's so much rain, so much rain. This is the rainforest in rain season. So tired. And not only that, like the thunderstorms, also there, very different than the one in Nevada, which was a dry thunderstorm with not so much rain. Actually, no rain at all. But here there was so much rain, and the lightning getting so close, very close. From Panama, I flew to Colombia because there's no roads going from Panama to Colombia. It's called the Darien Gap, and there's no roads. There's a few tracks, but it's a lawless land, and it's illegal to cross borders there. So most people take or a boat or fly. Yeah, South America. I think it's going to be 4 episodes.